Imagine walking into someone's house and you see a kennel with a German Shepherd in it, and the German Shepherd's sleeping. So you do what anybody would do. You scoot down next to the cage to say, "Hey boy, how you doing?" And then instantly you realize that the German Shepherd isn't sleeping, but it's dead. That's right. And it ain't just dead. It's like dead and rotting like a corpse, like a zombie dog. And you realize that you were so shocked by the sight that you just took in by walking in this house that you didn't realize how rank and disgusting and the house smelled of dead decay. And you seen the dog and you're trying to take this all in because flies and gnats are buzzing everywhere. And you see a bag of food with roaches crawling in and out of it, gnats flying around it. And the dog is being chewed on by insects. And you realize that the dog died starving to death in a pile of its own fecal matter and urine 2 feet away from its salvation, which was the bag of food. And then you realize that the person that was supposed to be raising this dog had so little compassion to feed the animal that it let the animal starve to death right in front of food. Boom! This is the story of Shaina Burko, a sick and twisted demonic individual who had a house of 1,000 corpses, The Secret Life of Pets edition. This is the story. Shaina Burko, a 30-year-old Indiana woman who has a long history of animal cruelty and animal abuse and, dare I say, mental health issues. That's right. She was arrested as far back as 2018. And here's a picture of Shaina Burko. And here's another picture of Shaina Burko. It's a mugshot of both of the times, twice of the time she's been arrested. She's been arrested 3 times, all for animal cruelty and all for abusing animals. And when I tell you some of the stuff that she's done, you're probably going to be disgusted, busted, and not knowing what to do, because that's how sick and twisted this is. It's literally a house of 1,000 corpses animal edition. Literally. So in 2018 in Warwick County, Indiana, Shaina Burko was arrested, and she was originally charged with 5 counts of animal cruelty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counts of animal cruelty. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 animal counts of cruelty. And they slapped her on the wrist and sent her right out the doorway. That's right. 1 little bad count, you bad little animal abuser. 2 little bad counts, you bad little animal abuser. 3, 4, 5. And they let her out because animal cruelty, including unaliving animals, is mostly just a misdemeanor. So she pleaded guilty to 3 misdemeanor counts in 2019. She was arrested in 2018. You know, courts drag on. And she received a suspended sentence with 1 year of probation. So she got her 1 year of probation in 2019, arrested in 2018. She's back at home and they take the animals from her. And she does what any animal cruelty and animal abuser would do once they get a couple little taps on the wrist. She went to the local pet store and the local SPCA, and she got more animals, and she brought them back home, and she continued her sick and vicious cycle of abusing animals and letting them starve to death, and much, much worse. So fast forward from 2019 to 2023, which is the second time that she gets arrested. This woman was put on probation for a year. So for 1 year, the probation officer, I'm assuming, never walked in Shaina's house to see what was going on, because they didn't violate her probation. She continued on until she got off probation. And maybe she was so sick and demented that she was able to hide what she was doing to animals from her probation officer. So fast forward to 2023, they get a complaint and they go to Shaina's house. And this time, from 2018 to 2023, her cruelty and abuse to animals exacerbated dramatically. She went from 2018, from the animals that she had dead in her house, to a whole nother level of torture. That's right. In 2023, in Vanderburgh County, so she went from Warwick County to Vanderburgh County, switching counties, I'm assuming, to throw the laws off of her track so she can continue to torture animals. So in 2023, when they went into her house, they found a decapitated dog in her hallway. When the animal control went into her house, the first thing they saw was a decapitated dog sitting in the hallway, head ripped off. She's living in the house with a decapitated dog. Can we say sicko? Can we say, man, this is crazy? They found a deceased German Shepherd in the kennel. We already spoke about that poor German Shepherd. They found a dog, a living dog with a missing paw. The animals in the house were so malnourished and starved that the assumption was that this dog ate its own paw. That's right. The dog, instead of a dog running around joyful on his paw, this dog was looking to survive, and it cannibalized itself by eating its own paw. We hear of hamsters eating their own paw and eating their babies. That's something that just happens in the wild. That's what mice do. But a dog, you don't ever hear about that. This dog was so hungry, it chewed its own paw. Or possibly they said that another animal in the house was so hungry, it started eating the dog itself. Despite these conditions, she was only sentenced to 2 years of probation rather than prison. At this point, the Humane Society gets wind of this case, and they're all over it. And of course, they're raging mad. And you know what? I don't blame the Humane Society. If I lived in this county and in this state, I would be crying for justice as well, because we're not talking about one bad choice. You know what I mean? We're talking about a lifestyle and who knows from 2018, how long that she's been abusing animals, and what is inside of a human's head to make them want to abuse animals. There is a study that says that humans who mistreat animals are almost 100% likely to mistreat human beings the same way they mistreat animals. So do we really want animal abusers like Shaina Burko running around society with a house of 1,000 corpses, animals edition, running around, or imagine her serving you your 10-piece chicken nugget from McDonald's. Imagine that. This woman got to have a job in society. She's making your cheeseburger. You know what I mean? While she's got animals that she's torturing at home. No telling what she's really doing to him, man. That's some crazy stuff, man. Woman had a dog with no head. Where the head was at? I don't even know if they found the dog's head. Oh, man. So she was sentenced to 2 years probation. And I want to go to the update from it's called the Vanderbilt Humane Society's post. They've been posting about this, but we're going to go back to 2025. You know, after she gets arrested in 2023, they're all over it. They're giving updates. And as of November 10th, 2025, they got more updated. We're going to get to that. But this is one I wanted to read because I found it interesting. It says update from the Humane Society. Check comments below for hearing information if you're attending November 17th. Many of you have likely heard the name Shaina Burko. Shaina has a history of extreme and horrific abuse and neglect to animals from 2018 to 2025. Now we're in 2026. A quick Google search will bring up news articles detailing her 3 previous incidents in multiple local counties, which sometimes involved animals originally adopted from VHS, which is Vanderbilt Humane Society, prior to the initial 2018 incident. She has received a slap on the wrist for each offense. No pun intended, but I'm saving this to read as I go. And they said slap on the wrist. And that's what I say all the time. Too often our judicial system is going, bad little animal abuser. Bad, bad, bad. She's not going to do it again. She'll be just perfectly fine. She won't abuse him again. We whipped her wrist. Boom! I'm going to bust her in the head. Take her head off and see how she feels about it. Sometimes it takes extreme measures. I had to go to prison for 10 years to get my mind right. Hopefully this fool will get her mind right. I don't know, man. This woman's sick. You saw, you know what I mean? They said on Michael Myers from Halloween, man, dude was torturing animals, man. They got that one scene, I turned it off. I couldn't watch it, man. Go watch Midnight Express, man. When they hung the cat and thing in the prison, I cut it off, man. I can't stomach this stuff. Abusing innocent creatures or innocent kids, man. That stuff bothers me all the way through. Anyway, she has received a slap on the wrist for each offense. There were deceased pets in her home each time. All 3 times they arrested her, they found dead animals. From her last cage, the Humane Society took a dog that had chewed his own leg off or was chewed off by other dogs in the home because of starvation. She has proven again and again she will continue to neglect and abuse animals. She has gone as far as representing herself as someone else to obtain the pets. Man, she's a chameleon. Funny to even have to use brilliant and beautiful animal like a chameleon to explain this woman, but I guess that's what we're going to do. She's a chameleon. She can hide in plain sight. She can make your cheeseburger and go home and unalive a guinea pig. That's how sick this woman is. Hear me out. We are encouraging everyone to please speak up for the animals that have died and suffered because of Shaina. While all cruelty cases need this same enthusiasm, this one is personal. A couple of these animals had been ours, cared for and dearly loved by our staff and volunteers. This human, Shaina's actions have kept our team awake at night. Man, and imagine how them animals felt. You know, if we can't sleep, man, them poor animals were suffering in that house. We must make sure that local authorities know that there are people who care and will advocate against animal cruelty and neglect. I agree. Shaina has a hearing next Monday, November 17th. That already came and went at Warwick County Circuit Court. That's where she received 2 little baby years of probation. After they hit her with the 5 little slaps on the wrist, they gave her 2 years. 1, 2. You killed more animals. 1, 2. Don't do it again. It's just a misdemeanor. Don't you hurt no more animals, Shaina. Yes, Your Honor, I won't. You sure I can't have no more animals? Because I'm going to go to the SPCA, see if I can adopt some more. Now, Shaina, don't you be getting no more animals. Your Honor, I won't. In her mind, she's thinking, I can't wait to go 2 counties over to that SPCA and get me a couple animals so I can kill them. If you are unable to attend, and they were asking everybody if they can go to the to this thing, man. This case is sick, y'all. Here's her pictures. Boom, right across. Look at her. As Shaina, 2 times that she got arrested. This lady has mental health issues. She's unstable, and she's in our society. She's a habitual animal unaliver, and she's floating in our society. Remember her face, because she's about to get sentenced again, and let's hope that there's no more slaps on the wrist. Fast forward, she gets her 2 years probation, and now she's on probation, and she somehow or another does not make it off her probation this time. I'm assuming this time the probation officer caught her because she received her probation after the 2023 arrest, and in 2025, 23, 24, 25, a couple years. So, and you got to think they didn't give her a sentence right away. So at some point while she's on probation, they catch her for the 3rd time. This time, she's at her mother's house. She took her illegal animal operations from her own apartments, her own homes or whatever, to her mother's house. You know, she felt like she could mask it, the chameleon that she is. Poor chameleons. She masked it and went to her mom's house. This time when they arrested her in 2025, last year, she was arrested alongside her mother, Kimberly Burko. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. 2 sickos. She probably learned how to mistreat animals, and she probably got her mental instability from her mother, because her mother is allowing this to happen in a house. So when the animal control people go to the house this time, this is what they said. Kimberly Burko was arrested with Shaina Burko after finding approximately 25 animals living in inhumane conditions. They found unsanitary conditions. Officers also reported an ammonia smell so strong that it burned their eyes and throats for days after cleaning the house out. Several dead animals, including a dead turtle and multiple dead guinea pigs, were found on her 3rd arrest. At this point, y'all, this woman likely got, in my opinion, you know how serial killers are? They find out that, you know, they can only convict them on a dozen murders, but they link them to a possible 3 dozen. So if Shaina is accused of unaliving 2 dozen animals, that means in her life, this woman is likely responsible for the death of hundreds and hundreds of animals. The only thing that I saw from this story that is a good news is that the animals that were living were able to be saved and placed in the Humane Society's care. I don't know if some of these animals were so, you know, mentally destroyed and untrustworthy or maybe dangerous that they had to euthanize them. I hope not. I hope some of them got rehabilitated and placed in loving families. But from all the articles I read on Shaina, there was only 1 cat. One cat. And the cat seemed to be doing okay. As we all know, cats are the most prolific hunters. They're one of the best hunters in all the world when it comes to straight up hunting and stalking capabilities. So I'm assuming the cat was just living off of dead rats, or killing rats and roaches and eating that and living off its primal, hunting instinct. And he was just surviving that way. You know what I mean? But God bless the cat too, and rest in peace to all the animals. And I'm hoping in 2026, because she just went to court, there's another update. And she just went to court. And when she went to court, I have an update from April 13th. And it's from the Vanderbilt Humane Society's post. It says, Shaina Burko update. The trial scheduled for tomorrow, April 14th, which was yesterday, has been recently canceled due to an agreed resolution. That means she must have took a plea bargain. We are not sure what this means. All we know is that her sentencing hearing will be on Monday, June 1st at 1:30 at the Warwick County Judicial Center at 1 County Square in Boonville, 47601. If you live in the area, the Humane Society is asking everyone to show up in support of all the animals, not just that Shaina has abused, but the animals that are abused throughout the world on a day-to-day basis. They're trying to get something done here, y'all. They're trying to make a change for this misdemeanor stuff on these animals so people can start getting real harsh sentences for the abuse of animals. So I would say that if you live in the area and you can make it to the courthouse, go let your voice be heard. In the meantime, we encourage the community to contact both Michael J. Perry, Warwick County Prosecutor, and Judge Greg A. Granger. That's Michael W. Perry, Warwick County Prosecutor, and Judge Greg A. Granger of the Warwick County Court, encouraging them to hand down the harshest possible sentence for Shaina Burko's third animal cruelty accusation and case. She must receive the maximum allowable jail sentence, receive mental health evaluations and treatments, I agree, and not be permitted to have any animals of any type for the rest of her life. And if she does it, back to jail she goes. Contact information to send letters and emails or any images or to the address below. I'll put the address right here. Listen, y'all, she obviously took a plea deal. You know, this is a crime and prison channel. When you hear something like that, I've been through the judicial system. This means she took a plea deal. This means that her and the DA came up with some deal. I don't know if the Humane Society and the community is going to be happy with the sentence, because if she took a plea deal, that means she had to, her attorney's job is to get her the best deal possible. So I'm assuming that they worked out some kind of deal. Maybe it's the maximum allowable sentence, or maybe she's throwing herself at the mercy of the court, considering the other 2 times the court just slapped her on the wrist and sent her right out the door to go abuse more animals. I don't know. But there is a good silver lining to the story, and I'm going to get to it right here. Coming from 14 News from the tri-state area, and the title is Animal Welfare Bill Signed into Law. Come on, y'all. Animal Welfare Bill signed. That means it's law. This is law now, signed into law. What does it consist of? I'm about to share it to you right here. It says, Evansville, Indiana. Governor Mike Braun has officially signed House Bill 1165 into state law. Vanderbilt County Prosecutor Diana Morris joined forces with state leaders to craft the bill, which is focused on strengthening the punishment for harming animals. She was inspired by cases like Shaina Burko, who's a repeat offender facing animal cruelty charges in Warwick County. 3 crimes against animals were horrific, and we were treating it with a misdemeanor, which was not sufficient. Like I said, the hoarding cases have almost 100% recidivism rate. Recidivism means that the chances of someone reoffending on the same charge once they're released, like she was twice on probation, that means that the likelihood that she's going to reoffend, that's the recidivism rate, is 100%. Animal abusers have 100% recidivism rate. That is crazy, man. And there's study after study that shows how you treat animals is how you're going to treat human, Morris said. Under the current law, some cruel acts against animals by first-time offenders could only be a misdemeanor. But once the new law goes into effect, certain acts of animal cruelty will be considered level 6 felonies, including the theft of domesticated animals. Law enforcement can only prosecute people to the extent of the law that's written, right? Correct. They can't just make things up and do more, even if they want to desperately. They have to follow the laws that are written. So something like this sets them up to be able to do that, to punish people for these heinous crimes in a more meaningful way long-term. Amanda Coburn, Director of Advancement at the Vanderbilt Humane Society, said. The new law also allows Hoosiers to free an animal from a hot vehicle without liability. That way, if you see a dog that's in a hot car and it's 101 degrees or 115 degrees with the heat index in Louisiana, but this is Indiana, that means you can bust it and get it out the car and break the window without having any implications of you being charged criminally or monetarily. That's right. You'll be free and clear because you was freeing a dog from suffering in a car, possibly going to suffocate itself to death because somebody locked an animal in a car where it couldn't breathe. You know what I mean? And the law also makes it into a level 5 felony for the unaliving of a law enforcement canine or a law enforcement animal, period. Because, some law enforcement agencies have cats as pets at the police station because it helps with morale. You know what I mean? So if you hurt that cat or that canine who's out on the watch, you can be charged with a level 5 felony. Great job. That's right. Nobody wants to live in a community where animals aren't respected or treated well. If you're not an animal person, and that's okay if you aren't a big pet person, you don't have pets at home, but it's still okay to recognize, like she said, that animal abuse and neglect affects us all, and it deteriorates our community's quality of life. Coburn said the law will go into effect July 1st of this year. Every single state should follow suit and start treating animal cruelty and animal abuse more seriously and put the option on the table for felony offenses and long prison sentences. I live in Louisiana. We got some crazy laws. One of the crazy laws involves alligators. It assumes that you have an alligator as a pet. And according to Louisiana statute and law, you cannot legally leash your alligator on a fire hydrant, or you can be imprisoned and fined for leashing your alligator to a fire hydrant. Now, you can walk your alligator on a leash, and as long as you got your alligator on a leash, I guess you're fine. You just can't tie him to no fire hydrant. Because, the police come and there's an emergency and the firefighters got to get to that fire hydrant and they got a 12-foot alligator named Crockett from Miami Vice on the fire hydrant. Then they're not going to be able to get to it. It's going to waste time. They got a building burn. They got to get to the fire hydrant, man. This case is crazy, y'all. I know. And this woman, in my opinion, for the crimes that she committed, 3 offenses, y'all, 3 separate arrests, multiple dead animals, she should receive at least a 10-year prison sentence without the possibility of probation or parole. 10 years minimum served in prison for these crimes. You know what I mean? I think there's probably some people who think she should probably get more, and some people who don't even care about animals. I did a video about animals a few videos back, man, and you'd be surprised some of the comments I had to delete on people who were raging at me because I was talking about animals and I was focused just on animals. This is a crime and prison channel, y'all. I focus on animals and I focus on all different types of crimes. I try to bring some unusual and unique crimes to the forefront so we can focus on like this. A lot of y'all didn't know this happen. I didn't know this happen. I just recently ran across it. And so that's what I try to bring, and shed light on. And some people get offended on it because I'm not covering what they want me to cover. If you don't like what I'm covering on my channel, go start your channel and you can cover it. How's that sound? I think that's a great idea. And I'm sure everybody else would like it too, but I'm doing my best to make videos and cover topics. And I do the ones that I think are interesting to me or the ones that, pull a heartstring for me. And sometimes they're involving people and sometimes they're involving animals and sometimes they're involving sick individuals. And that's just the way it is. Welcome to the Pen and the Shank, the most unusual and unique crime and prison channel experience on YouTube. And if you watched the video this far, give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe, and check out my memberships and help us grow this channel like a space cat. Heading to the moon. Can you imagine a moon full of space cats? That would be totally awesome. Man, let's get this.